What's up, guys? Welcome back to the review space, and today we will review the episode of Bardock, a Dragon Ball Z special OVA. Alright, so let's begin. Well, this is a very recent 2011 OVA. This is basically an anime movie that was probably released. It'll be released on DVD, Blu-ray sometime in the future, but they aired it on Japanese TV. I don't think they've made a dub yet, an English translation. I could be wrong, but anyway, it was basically a manga originally, and it was called Episode of Bardock, where basically they had a little story which kind of made Bardock, who is the father of Goku, you know, the main character of frickin' Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, remember him? He was blasted into oblivion by Frieza. Now remember, Frieza was the main villain for a really long time. He was actually one of the best villains, and he destroyed planet Vegeta along with the rest of the Saiyan race. Bardock was one of those guys who was really anti-Frieza. You know, at the time when the Saiyan race was basically conquered by Frieza, and essentially Bardock, he rebelled ultimately against Frieza, and he paid for it with his life. For all these years, it seemed like he died. He was basically killed, just like the rest of the Saiyan race, because of that huge, tremendous, giant blast. That supernova type blast that Frieza was able to unleash on the planet Vegeta. Here's what happened. Apparently, he survived this battle, and right now I'm reading this little. I'm reading the description on this website. It's called Dragon Ball Wiki. Anyway, Bardock survives his battle against Frieza. He wakes up in a bed on a planet and looks like a lot like planet Vegeta. He's being treated by two aliens, and then there's the village doctor Ipana and his son Barry, and ultimately, there's this other character, and his name is Chilled. He's a space tyrant. He's very similar in appearance, and his personality and just the way he is, his character, is basically like Frieza. His name is Chilled. He looks like Frieza. He reminds me of Frieza. Basically, he wants to basically destroy this planet that Bardock is on right now, because Bardock, initially, he killed off a couple of guys named Tubi and Kiabira, who are basically Chilled's henchmen. So he was, Chilled was like, okay, let me check this out. Two of my men died here. Alright, so... Okay, so anyway... let's see. After seeing Chilled, Bardock ends up confusing him for Frieza. So he's like, oh, snap. Is that Frieza? He punches him, they start fighting, and then they start beating each other up, okay? Alright, and then there's this other character, Barry. He's one of these little villager guys, native to this home planet that somehow Bardock ended up on. This Barry character, who kind of looks kind of like a... that character from Kirby? Kirby Right Back at You, that snail guy? That snail character? He's one of the villains. He's always like antagonizing Kirby. Kirby, right back at you. Yeah, well, he kind of looks like those guys. You know what I mean? And these villagers, they look kind of like slugs. Basically, they kind of look weird. Barry ends up actually forming some kind of almost like a friendship with Bardock. Bardock, he was able to fend off these two Saiyan, or not Saiyans, but they're Chilled's henchmen, which I mentioned before. It was what's his face? The guys that he ended up killing. What's his name again? I don't even remember the names. It's really starting to tick me off. God, oh my gosh, what's the names? Not Ipana. Tubi. There you go. Tubi and Kiabira. Those were the guys that Bardock killed. They were attacking the villagers. And then Chilled comes in, because two of his henchmen, Tubi and Kiabira, they died. And so he ends up fighting Bardock. He was this guy. He was like, oh snap, who's this Bardock guy? They start fighting each other. So Chilled, this Frieza-like character, he ends up wounding Barry. You know, this little guy named Barry. He's the villager that sort of became Bardock's friend. So Bardock, he ends up remembering the way that he, the way that he lost his crew, and he was thinking about Frieza, and then all that rage just kind of built up. He becomes a Super Saiyan. That's right. Bardock becomes a Super Saiyan. Okay, here's the thing. Apparently, the thing here is that Bardock is supposed to be the legendary Super Saiyan. I think that's what they were trying to do. He was supposed to be... it's kind of actually confusing because he became a Super Saiyan. He ends up killing Chilled, I think, right? Or no. Oh no, he doesn't kill Chilled. It looks like he killed Chilled, but no. It is revealed that Chilled survived after losing the energy struggle, but he later died from his wounds. That's right, he died in the spaceship. That's right. Chilled's knowledge about Super Saiyans was passed to his descendants, King Cold, Frieza, and Cooler. There you go. And here's the thing. This is where I'm getting to. I know this recap is kind of all over the place, but this thing is really confusing me. I did watch it. I have seen the OVA. I've seen it with my own eyes. It is available right now. It's online. As a matter of fact, I saw it on YouTube. It's called Episode of Bardock. It was in Japanese, which is why I had such a hard time translating it and understanding what was going on. It was in Japanese. There was no subs, okay? It was unsubbed. It was pure Japanese. There was no English translations at all. So it was kind of frustrating. But it was pretty easy to gather. Bardock became a Super Saiyan. I don't know why he became a Super Saiyan. He's strong. He's a very strong Super Saiyan. Or he's a strong Saiyan. But not strong enough to be a Super Saiyan. I think that it felt like the writers, whoever wrote this, I don't think Akira Toriyama wrote this. Probably not, but it felt like almost like a cheap kind of tie-in. It was a cheap tie-in to make Bardock. It was like a fantasy type of thing that, non-canon basically, like a fantasy, a what-if scenario, that doesn't really. It's not canon, but it is very interesting that he became Super Saiyan. I don't know how he became Super Saiyan. He's not strong enough. It doesn't make sense to me. His power level should, around the time when he was killed by Frieza, it shouldn't have been higher than somebody like Vegeta, at the time when Vegeta was just a runt. The time when he invaded Earth along with Nappa. The first time, the Saiyan saga, when Vegeta and Nappa came into planet Earth the first time. Bardock shouldn't have been stronger than those guys. So, I don't understand how Bardock became a Super Saiyan right away. It felt like a cheap tie-in. It felt like a cheap pop. It felt... it was just another excuse, basically, to have another Super Saiyan in the, in the Dragon Ball Z universe. I thought Chilled was interesting. It was because Chilled was basically supposed to be the ancestor. See, what happened was Bardock was actually sent back in time after he was blasted by Frieza. Somehow, when he was blasted, I guess it could have caused some kind of time shift or something like that. A time continuum thing where he traveled. He was sent back in time. He was sent back to the Dark Ages into some kind of planet. Some planet. Some ancient world, some ancient planet where, and then he comes across Chilled. Chilled is basically the ancestor of Frieza. He looks just like him. He's got the same, physical appearance, basically. And I think that's the problem. Is that it was cool. It was very cool, and I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the storytelling. It was an intriguing concept. Bring back Bardock. Give more insight into the Saiyan history. This is a piece of Saiyan history, I guess. Turn him into a Super Saiyan. But it just felt so cheap. It felt so hackneyed, where you have Bardock, a low-level Saiyan, you know, by like modern Saiyan standards, really. He is strong, but again, he's not that strong in comparison to somebody like Vegeta during the Saiyan saga. So he was a strong fighter, but it wasn't strong enough, in my opinion, to become a Super Saiyan. I think it was just a further nail in the coffin, so to speak, in the prestigiousness of the Super Saiyan. You know, the fact that they've had so many Super Saiyans like over and over again, the way that they've cheapened the legacy of the Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball Z is ridiculous. How many Super Saiyans have there been? I mean, I think around the time when they started to cheapen out was when Goten and Trunks, you know, Trunks and Goten became Super Saiyan just like that, when they were like 8 years old, 5 years old, or whatever, how old they were, how young they were, you know, when they first turned. So it was very cheap. It wasn't like the hardships, you know, it wasn't like the hard training, it wasn't a payoff, there wasn't a strong build-up, you know, there was no good build-up leading towards those changes. I mean, let's look at Goku. Goku, the first time he turned Super Saiyan, it was very, very it was climactic, you know, it was a very, very strong finish, it was a very strong build-up. It was very, he snapped, basically. He snapped after seeing his friend Krillin, his best buddy, die at the hands of Frieza. And the fact that, you know, Goku has had such a strong build-up anyway as a strong character. He's gained so much experience, and power level has gone up so much that it made sense for him to become Super Saiyan. Same with Vegeta. Vegeta trained so hard, and then he snapped because he felt like he couldn't compete. He didn't care about being stronger than Goku anymore. So he snapped, became Super Saiyan. But he was very strong at the time anyway. So it was almost like he evolved. If it was Pokemon, they'd be level, you know, 50, and they would have evolved. It would have been time. Okay, they gained enough experience points, so to speak. But now Bardock, I don't get it. Bardock, you know, sure, he probably had a lot of fights. He probably destroyed a lot of people and killed a lot of planets and stuff like that. You know, and considering for, you know, at his time he was a very strong Saiyan. Why did he become Super Saiyan? It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. If he was a Super Saiyan, you know, and let's just say that I buy into this idea, he's still a pretty weak Super Saiyan. He's probably nowhere near as Goku was when he first turned. Probably not even nowhere near as strong as like Trunks when he first turned. You know what I mean? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It felt like a cheap pop. It was a cheap tie-in. It was a fantasy at best. It was fun, you know. It was entertaining. I will give it that. It was a very entertaining OVA. I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch, and I was entertained legitimately. But at the same time, you know, Dragon Ball Z hasn't been on in a long time. They have Dragon Ball Z Kai. But I think that Dragon Ball Z has been so far removed itself, like just that mythos and that the franchise itself has been so far removed from people's minds that when people watch this, the only people that will really care about it are people like me who actually grew up on Dragon Ball Z. You know, way back in the 90s, early mid-90s when I started watching it the first time, and, you know, people who are familiar with these characters. So, again, you know, it was a cool transformation. I enjoyed it. I like it when he, you know, the whole crater thing, when he powers up and he turns Super Saiyan. It was a very cool transformation, don't get me wrong. And it was cool to see Frieza's ancestor chilled, you know, going back with this whole cold, ice cold, you know, puns and King Cold, Frieza, cooler, you know, chilled. Or as they say in the Japanese dub, chilled. Anyway, it was, yeah, again, it was a fun episode. I enjoyed it, but don't you know, don't take it for more than face value. You know what I'm saying? Don't put too much weight on it. You know, don't put too much weight on this particular OVA. You know what I'm saying? Like this, it's very fun and entertaining. This whole first legendary Super Saiyan thing. And I don't even know if he was the first Super Saiyan. Like, I don't even know. Because it does kind of make sense. But, and Vegeta did refer to it, you know, Vegeta would always talk about the legendary Super Saiyan. You know, thousands of years ago, millennia ago, where somebody, a legendary Super Saiyan became Super Saiyan, but he was so powerful, he destroyed himself. It doesn't sound like Bardock. You know, I think that he turned, whoever the Super Saiyan was a golden monkey, which was Super Saiyan SSJ4, I think. So that legendary Uzaru, you know, basically, and he was so powerful that he destroyed himself. So I don't think it was Bardock. It could be Bardock, you know. Maybe Bardock got stronger and eventually came back to planet Vegeta in his time period, because keep in mind that he went back in time. Alright, so overall my thoughts on this, it was fun and entertaining to watch, but I wouldn't put too much weight on it as a canon story, you know. I wouldn't be like, whoa, wow, Bardock, he's the first Super Saiyan, you know. I wouldn't even say that, but it was very cool. It was definitely cool. It was almost nostalgic, so I gotta give it a thumbs up. It's definitely a must-watch, but again, just, you know, don't put too much weight on it. It's very fun to watch, but that's pretty much it. I enjoyed it. The Japanese dub is a little bit painful to watch, though, because again, there's no translations. There's no English translations that I've seen so far. Eventually, obviously, they'll make an English dub, English translation, whatever. It'll be a lot easier to watch and understand what's going on. But it's on right now on YouTube, so you can watch it right now. So go ahead and check it out. So that's it for this episode of the Review Space. And until next time, ciao!